Hello everyone, it's great to have you all on board. It's another time with Tutor IO, the enthusiastic tutor, and in today's tutorial, it happens to be a very first class on the course INR212, and we are going to be talking about what it means by diplomacy. For those of us who are new to the stream, let's ensure to subscribe to the channel. Let's ensure to hit the like button. Importantly, if you haven't subscribed, if you haven't joined our private class yet, you want to reach out to us to on our official website, www.tutorial.net. Use the WhatsApp button in the top right corner, a direct message, and we'll be happy to have you on board. And we'll walk you through all your courses throughout the semester without leaving any course unattended to. And not just classes, we also assist with a whole lot of handful resources just to get you all set up for your exams. Pretty much, we are running up the classes because see the POP exam is currently on and the CBT exams will be starting soon. Nevertheless, enroll today. A whole lot of things can still come in that you can catch up with real quickly. So it's not going to be a long class today. It's going to be pretty much all introduction to the main course, and in our next we'll be dissecting things properly. So with this being said, let's go straight into today's class. According to the thumbnail, it says diplomacy. Now, when we talk about diplomacy, when you come across the word diplomacy, what are we simply referring to? Now, this is a very important course for this department as a whole. Now, this department, you are here probably um, you have a broad course, but for the students of peace and conflict resolution studies, this course is a very important course because considering the nature of your course, it's all about understanding how conflict works, how conflict can be best handled both locally and internationally. Now, speaking of which, this course is one course that speaks a lot about that, as we can see, starting the course, the very first module, the very first unit, the very first module, we're talking about diplomacy. And when we talk about understanding conflict, and we'll talk about um, how to settle conflict amicably without using force, we're talking diplomacy. Now, before now, we've talked about diplomacy as probably a subtopic. Now we're going to be discussing diplomacy, all right, majorly in the course of this course, all right. And before now, I believe we understand what it means by diplomacy and who a diplomat is. Now, diplomacy is the process itself. Diplomat is the individual that exercise diplomacy. Now, that's just a quick one. So let's go into proper detail in just a moment. Diplomacy. Now, according to Joseph Stalin said something very important about diplomacy. Okay, what is it exactly? I need to confirm the audio. Okay, the audio is on point, just to show. Now, Joseph Stalin made a very cogent, all right, contribution to the said term. Now, in his words, Joseph said, a diplomat words must have no relation to actions. A diplomat, a diplomat's word must have no relations, all right, to, I'm going to switch this marker. This particular one is fading, all right. A diplomat's word must have no relation to actions. To actions. Now, this statement is quite connotative, all right? It's a precise one, but it speaks a lot. It speaks aloud a lot. Now, to complete this statement, otherwise, what kind of diplomacy is it? I'm going to take that again. A diplomat's word must have no relation, underline word, underline actions, no relation to actions. Otherwise, what kind of diplomacy is it? Now, this is when you see somebody speaking in parables, but trust me, parable are concealments for deeper meanings. Now, let's just quickly take a closer look to what Joseph is referring to here. Now, according to this statement made by Joseph, this referred to the idea that diplomacy should be what? Strategic. Now, for you to come to a round table, all right, as a diplomat, trust me, you want the best for whoever you are playing the role of diplomat for, whether your country, your organization, or your company, and the other party as well also seeks to take advantage of the situation. So both diplomats are looking for a win-win negotiation, which is almost impossible. Are we together? So now, diplomacy should be what? Strategic. Not just strategic, it should be calculated and often involve what we refer to as careful. Don't forget the misuse of a single word. You cannot say what you don't mean. The misuse of a single word can be catastrophic. Are we together? So that's why Joseph is telling us here that when it comes to diplomacy, you need to be very strategic as a diplomat. All right? You need to be very calculated and you must get involved in careful communication that doesn't always align, all right, with the immediate or overt your actions taken. Now, it is more of use careful words that doesn't put you in a tight corner. You can always walk out from every diplomatic conversation. But irrespective of that, the most important thing here, what we are considering here, is arriving at that junction whereby you are able to get to that concession of a win-win negotiation. Now, words are one thing. Good words are marks for concealment of bad deeds. All right. So in diplomacy, the words are the power, and you have to carefully wield this power. All right, attached to the usage of words. So we have that as that. Now, speaking of which, diplomacy, all right, is the totality of the strategies through which an independent state relates to another state and other international organizations. Now, continuing diplomacy on an international level now, whereby states relate with each other. All right, we are talking about so a diplomatic relationship does not necessarily mean this country loves each other 100%. All right, it does not necessarily translate to a comprehensive kind of love relationship. All right, it could, all right, which is 90% out of 100%. Most time, most diplomatic relationships are basically for a purpose. All right, there is something always attached to it. All right, so because of what we are getting, so we are offering this in return. If you refuse us what you are giving us, then definitely we'll also cut, all right, the chain of supply from us to you. This is basically what we are being told here. It is the totality of the strategies through which an independent state, all right, and other international organization in order to achieve what we refer to as national interest. So when there is diplomacy, there's always an interest. You are not bounded to what you don't want. You are not bounded when it comes to diplomacy. You are not bounded. It is more of we because of the interest. Let's say, for example, a country has oil. A country is rich in oil. A country is rich in warheads. So now the country, okay, let's use military strength. So a country rich in military strength is interested in your oil, basically maybe because they need those oil to keep their research and productions of warhead effective. And you there over there, you need this product, all right, war product, probably the the end product of all this produced to effect your war back here. And the only thing you can bring to the table is the trade of your oil. All right. So such relationship is basically diplomatic. All right. We giving you this because we can get this from you. So there's always an interest attached to diplomacy. So it's not all about the words. All right. Actions matter and is also tied to the interest. Like I said earlier, it's going to be pretty much short one today, and it's going to be more like an introduction. So we might need to call it a wrap here today because we have the next class almost immediately. And in our next class, we'll take a comprehensive definition of the term diplomacy. We'll consider diplomacy, all right, this diplomacy according to what different scholars, their contributions, consider the contributions of different scholars on the set diplomacy as we go further by talking about the Oxford Dictionary English and different scholars like the likes of Quincy Wright. We're going to be looking at this properly in our next class. Thank you very much, everyone. I believe you've been able to gain something, and the next class will be taking a bearing from the origin, all right, the genesis, the etymology of diplomacy. So, call it up here for now. Thank you and do have a wonderful evening. Bye for now.